Welcome back to the greatest business channel on the internet. One thing you guys need to know, the most important thing about any business, if you're starting out and the way you keep your head, is that success is incremental. I was just at my barber's, great barbers as you can see. I was just at my barber's and he said to me, he's a younger guy, he's 24, runs a very successful business, it's his business, very plush barber shop, top end, always fully booked. And he says he sees these people around him, these influencers, and they're rich, and it makes him angry at his own situation in terms of like, maybe there's more I could be doing, maybe I should be doing something else, maybe this, maybe that, and that's not the case. When I first started my business nearly 15 years ago, 2 years in, I was considering changing lanes, and I'm so glad I didn't. Thanks to my dad, he said, focus, focus, focus equals profit, profit, profit. If you keep hop, skipping, and jumping from business to business, you're restarting, because there's a year, 2 years that could go by when nothing's gonna happen. So if nothing really happened as it should, well, as it shouldn't, you know what I mean? And I don't mean nothing happened, I mean nothing happened in terms of get rich. You don't really get rich in 2 years, unless you're playing the lottery or you're like doing some meme coin or crypto, which is the same as playing the lottery. I invest in crypto, but not in a way to try and get rich quick. I'm doing it to hold cash, to stay ahead of inflation, that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying you can't make loads of money out of crypto, but I'm saying to look at those people who have won lottery style money and then let it swerve you off of your idea is the devil getting in your head. The most important thing is this, is there could be a year, 2 years go by, you're not making money, your dreams haven't came out the way that you thought it would, you're not driving a Ferrari yet, but you didn't realize that all of the value that you were putting into the business was gonna show itself in year 3. That's what happened to me. And if you hop, skip, and jump, you never actually build. And building, it's a lot of the work that doesn't seem obvious to everyone, that where you have this business, maybe it's a culmination of the lessons you learned, maybe it's a culmination of the product developing, your processes developing, whatever it is, you're not expecting to get rich in 1 or 2 years. That just doesn't really happen. So you looking at other people who are richer than you at this point can make you negate your own solid work. So anything that's taking you away from that, you need to unplug from. You need to understand that traditionally, and we still are traditionally, even though we're in this modern society, traditionally you have to put in the hours. And you have to put in the hours to not only get good at your craft, to get your business known. Nothing's really happening, especially if you want to go into big business. Nothing's really happening for a few years. Even this business out here in Europe, I started this 4 years ago, as you guys know. Well, 4 years in September it will be. And even this year, this is our 4th trading year. We're just breaking even. We're doing a lot of money now, and we have a big team, actually north of 10. We had another person start just, and we have 40 back in the UK. So we have like a 50 plus team. It's pretty sick. But understand this, that we are now in our 4th year, and because we started at scale, we're only just starting to wash our face. I lost 1.2 million euros up until this point. It's crazy. Now, if in year 1 or year 2, where nothing's really expected to be happening, I'd let the devil get in my head, I could have canned the whole project. And that's what it is. Success is incremental, and you have to turn up for not just days, sometimes years, and nothing's coming back. So when you see these people that are like doing super success on Instagram or whatever it is, understand that A, you don't even know if that's real. It could be fake. That could be part of what they're trying to sell to you, that lifestyle. And B, that whole distraction is going to take you away from doing your business, which you've already put a lot into. And you putting a lot into it now, just because it's not making money, doesn't mean that it's not going to be successful. It's actually probably the success is way sooner than you even realize, but you just need to stay in the water. It's like you're in the water with a surfboard waiting for a wave, and no waves have come, and you're like, I'm just going to go in now, and you take your surfboard out of the sea. Well, you're definitely not going to catch a wave if you're out. And every time you chop and change businesses and you don't master one is a time that you're kind of getting back out the water, drying off, getting on a new suit and getting back in. And during that time, you're going to hit 3 or 4 waves. I've stayed in my single lane now for nearly 15 years, and I've hit many waves. Many times, years have gone by and not a lot's happened. But it has been happening. It's been happening behind the scenes. It's been happening in our learning. You either have a win or you have a lesson. And that really is like, what do you call it? Cliche, but it's facts. Too much about this world is set out to make you want the next best thing. Ditch this relationship, ditch this business, ditch this, and no success comes from doing that. The success comes from persevering and improving, and then taking what you've learned and the roots you've put down into the ground. It all comes to fruition in the end. Yeah, guys, I see that now way too often. And I actually experienced it myself again when I started this new business. Those who have been following the channel, you know that I started my distribution business 14 and a half years ago in the UK. And I replicated that same business out here in Europe 4 years ago. And even now in its 4th trading year, we're still just washing our face. But where we're going is big. I have the framework of a business that could be turning over 100 million in 3 years. So it's crazy. But if I just went by the fact that it's not paying, I took like an impatient attitude towards it, then yeah, the whole thing could have been kaput. I could have canned it and then thought, you know what, I'll just take my easy money here, take my easy money. We're not after easy money. We're not trying to follow lottery winners online. What we're trying to do is build something that brings serious value, not just to you, but to the marketplace. And with those things nailed, yeah, success will happen. But patience is a virtue. And it's too easy to quit and change ideas. And every time you change, it's a full reset. Like I said before, guys, every single business has people who are wildly successful in it. So for you to think you need to go and change, no. Take barbers, for example. Like I said, this question was cued to me by my barber earlier. I actually know someone who runs a chain of ladies' hairdressers, and he has a chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce. He was one of my granddad's friends before my granddad passed away. And I used to be to my granddad, like, what does he do? He's like, oh, he owns this chain here. And he'd tell me about that. I don't want to name it because, what do you call it? Data protection. But yeah, he told me he owns this chain here. And he had like 27 hairdressers, started from the same town as me, and had a chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce. So if you're sat owning a hairdresser's or a barber shop thinking, no, everything can be scaled up. There's people doing everything on huge scale. So yeah, don't let the devil get in your head. Focus, focus, focus equals profit, profit, profit. That was one of the most valuable lessons that my dad ever gave me. Well, he's still alive, he's still giving me lessons, but one of my earliest lessons going into business. Because when I was younger, I used to chop and change ideas all the time. And my dad would always say to me, he'd go, you're a quitter, you don't stick at something, you just need to stick at something. And the crazy part is, if you stick at one thing, in the end, it will be successful. And then you can start to branch out. Because I started with a very, very finite product. And now we sell a lot of stuff. We basically sell everything IT. But that didn't start because we went in trying to sell everything IT. We went in specific, and then we broadened it out as we started to maximize what we were already selling to those channels. To try and go in and be a jack of all trades, it doesn't work. To start one business and then change and then another and then change and then another and then change, that also doesn't work. The toughest part about business is sticking and staying even when you don't know if it's going to work. But that's the trick. That's why success is so difficult to even see, because it's so slight and every day you're just turning up and pushing the needle a little bit further forward. Sometimes you don't even know if stuff's going on. And then what happens is at the end of the year, you can look back and be like, whoa, we went from there to there. But even on a month-by-month basis, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're growing. Trust me, my business now turns over £20 million as a group. And there has been years, like in 2017, 18, where it feels like we're not growing at all. And then suddenly you see a bit of an influx. And then it's the same, and then a bit of an influx. And if you don't stay in, you're not there for the influx. And if you're not there for the influx, then the devil's won. You changed ideas because of this. You changed ideas because of that. Truthfully, anyone can do it. But the real difficult part is keeping your head in the game when the results aren't coming in. Because a lot of us, we want the results to motivate us. But you know what? You can't always get what you want. And sometimes, even in my biggest business endeavor yet, which is starting this European business, okay, we're not making or generating any cash just yet. No problem. I can already see exactly what's happening. We're breaking even, which feels like we're making millions now. Just to get the pressure off of the UK business financing this, that's amazing. But the most impressive part about this is I can truly see how we go from being now a £20 million group to a £100 million group in a few years. So we did something I wouldn't normally expect it to take 4 years, I guess is the point of what I'm making. But the fact that it took 4 years is because we've put so much into it that now we're going to start to see it grow like a beanstalk. And we've actually seen that over the last 6 months. So let's say you set up a lemonade stand outside your house. Maybe you can break even on day 1 or day 2. However, the market cap of that particular lemonade stand, you're probably going to reach it in a few days too. Whereas if you start a business that has a huge ceiling to entry, then maybe you're going to be in the trenches for more years, just like me. However, the ceiling of that business is going to be astronomically higher. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I understood this from an I'll say early age, because I did 2 years of nothing on eBay and Amazon. And then in the 3rd year, made £1 million net profit, which is crazy. People don't do that. But the way I stayed motivated is I kept looking at articles of other people who had done the same. And I thought, I just said people don't do it. And then I said other people who do the same. They weren't making that kind of money. They were turning over $1 million. I made $1 million net. But the way that I didn't quit is for 2 years, I just looked at this article, looked at this and said, if they're doing it, I can do it. If they're doing it, I can do it. So it allowed me to stay in the game, even though I was only seeing small bits of incremental success. But, that's the trick. And I think that if everyone could just understand that your only job is to not quit and your only job is to find a way to stay motivated, to push forward. I'm not saying you don't develop and change your product to make sure it fits the market. Of course, you need to have your finger on the pulse. But to find reasons to quit because this business is better, no. Other people are doing all of those businesses, including the one that you're thinking of quitting now, and they're making tons of money. And if you were in their shoes and you'd have done the hard incremental success, you wouldn't want to leave. So the only reason you want to leave is because you feel like you can get there quicker doing this. But that is the devil. That is the devil making you think that you're on the wrong path, but you're not. You got to be in it to win it. Focus equals profit. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, James Lake Show. Subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. Comment down below what you want me to talk on next. And I hope this brought some value, guys. Over and out.